It is such an honor to introduce to you our distinguished guest. Everyone, let us all welcome our speaker, Dr. Liecel Trinidad-Fulgencio.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me again to be part of your program for today. You know, it really warms my heart to see that at this point in time on a Saturday, we have 400 plus attendees, no? And I am very happy to note, no, that for me, it means that really we are feeling the need for this particular lecture, and I hope, no, that I will be able to impart to you, no, some of the tips so that we will be able to adapt, no, to this situation that we are faced with. Okay, so this one will be a very practical one for you, okay, because we will be discussing the challenges of online learning, and with the hope that this will provide a guide for students, educators, and even the parents. Okay, so for every talk, we usually start with the disclosure, meaning what are the things that I've been doing and where am I coming from. Number one, I am a member of the Speakers Bureau for 2 pharmacological companies. However, for this particular lecture, no pharmaceutical company was involved in the preparation of this module. Okay. Another disclosure is that basically my work is that I am a practicing psychiatrist. No? Fortunately, for my field, I am able to do work predominantly online. Okay, I do see patients in my clinic, but I usually do it on a once a week basis. Okay, mostly it's done online, such that no, my son feels like I am already a housewife because he is seeing me for most of the time at home. I am also an educator, teaching medical students and psychiatry residents in training. Okay, so meaning, no, just like you teachers, I feel, no, how difficult it is to try to do your lectures online. Okay, and together with that, no, I am also a parent with 3 boys going through online learning. No, so you imagine, no, that this guide, when I was making them, no, it feels like this is me reminding myself how I should be doing things. Okay, and no, the last one is that definitely I am a mental health advocate, and just like you, I miss the old ways of living, no, but doing my best, no, to strive and striving to be happy. Okay, so I try to do, no, the best possible things for me to entertain myself, to cope, no. So how many of you have become more familiar or well-versed, no, in Shopee? How many of you have become platinum holders because of that? No, hopefully, no, my stand is, no, so long as they are positive coping, it's okay, because that is your way of striving to be happy. Okay, so for this particular talk, it will be a very basic one, because basically we will be discussing number one, the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on the educational system, then going through the impact of the pandemic on the child and the adolescent's mental health, and then move on to learning in the time of COVID-19 and fostering creative learning plans. No? So how do we move on from here, and how do we continue learning despite what is going on? Okay. So let's begin. Okay. What about the the COVID-19 timeline? Okay. It was February 2, 2020 when we had our first reported death of a Chinese from Wuhan in the Philippines. In fact, no, it was the first death outside of China that was actually declared. So much so that eventually, by March 11 of 2020, the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. No? And a few days later, our president has declared that that Luzon will be placed on an enhanced community quarantine. Okay, it was March 16, 2020. And what does that mean for all of us? It means that institutions have to close down, including schools, and that we will have to be safely tucked, okay, in our homes. Okay, so if we were to count from that, today marks our 539th day that we are in quarantine. Moving on, by August to September 2020, because we say that we need to continue with learning, we prepared and the classes opened during that time. And at that time, a lot of us tried our best to prepare our lectures, to prepare for all the things that we need to do for the school year. As a parent, you had to set up various workstations for your children, and it's really a difficult one because we realize that our houses are not built for online learning. Who would have realized that we will be needing a lot of space for our children to study, or even for us to work. Okay, and then just like a ray of sunshine, we hope that with the vaccinations which was rolled out March 1, 2021, we will have to put an end to this pandemic. Okay, unfortunately, okay, our pandemic has continued, and we are actually opening another school year. Some of you may have started classes starting August, but for those in the public schools, they will open their classes September. And what does it imply? Hopefully, between August 2020 of last year to this year, there have been significant improvements in terms of your learning management systems that was implemented. Sabi nga nila, supposedly love is lovelier the second time around. So hopefully we are less frantic as we start another school year. However, what is the problem with this one is that we are continuing with our education in the background of an increasing COVID-19 cases. Okay, parang it seemed like every time we feel like there is always the highest recorded cases. So it's really a work in progress as we go on. Okay, and for the school, what is its implications? Okay, notice that the implications is that there is a certain group of students who have been through online classes for the past at least 2 whole years, because we assume that there will be no face-to-face classes for this school year. And so 2 years, the other is at least the latter half of their school year, or the latter end. So my son is like that, started grade 7 online. So it seemed like he will be finishing. I hope that he will not finish his junior high school solely on online learning. Probably some of you will be able to relate with that. Okay, what is the impact of COVID-19 on the children's mental health? Okay, note that 99% of children are living with restrictions on movement, and that 60% live in countries under partial or full coronavirus lockdowns. Okay, in our situation, most of the children are still staying at home, and that there are 1.5 billion are out of school because they are mostly working, going to school online. girls are particularly significantly affected, with containment measures resulting in increased gender-based violence. No, we have felt it. No, there are a lot of cases now, no, of sexual or physical abuse that is happening. Okay, and that younger children are at great risk because of high levels of stress and isolation, and this affect their brain development, sometimes with irreparable long-term consequences. That is the reason why we say, no, that though COVID-19 in the beginning, no, is not physically hurting our children, but definitely it is hurting their mental health. No, now they have COVID-19 has started to even hurt the children physically. How about the teenagers? Okay, in a study, no, remember that this was a poll done in America. They say that 7 in 10 teens experience struggles. Okay, and that 64% of teens believe that COVID-19 will have a lasting impact on their generation's mental health. Okay, however, if you look at it, no, even prior to COVID-19, 81% of teens viewed mental health as a significant issue for youth in the US. Okay, and when you look closely, no, in this particular statistics, 61% of teens say that COVID-19 pandemic has increased their feeling of loneliness. Okay, and what's making our teens feel stressed? 71% say this is schoolwork. Okay, note that this was done in the beginning of the pandemic. No, that is the reason why most of them, no, express anxiety because classes have abruptly stopped. Okay, that is why, no, there is a lot of uncertainty about what's happening. Okay, and how do they cope? 67% pretend to feel better, to not worry anyone. 65% deal with feelings on their own. I am warning you, please do not do it on your own, no, because, no, even adults have problems doing it on their own. Therefore, especially you who are quite young. 45% ignore their feelings or spend more time alone, and that 75% of the waking hours of the teenagers are spent on screens. Okay, and so what do we need to highlight? Okay, 70% wish their school taught them more about mental health and coping mechanisms. No? So hopefully this one is a good way to address this concern. Okay, how was mental health affected because of this situation? Okay, this is not just for the children and adolescents, but for everyone. Number one, definitely there were changes in the routine, and the ones that hurt us most is the physical and social distancing. No, it's really difficult not to be in our own safe places at home, but unable to reach out to anyone. No, even the routines that we usually do became quite difficult to accomplish. No, na-imagine nyo ba at na ngayon nyo po ba na-appreciate, no, na even your haircut, no, is really parang it's really a luxury now, no, if you will be able to have your haircut because of these restrictions and the changes in routine. There is also a break in community learning, and that because, no, the first lockdown happened before the school year ended, no, so we have been locked down for at least, no, 539 days, no, and not only that, no, there is a break even in the continuity of healthcare, no, because of fears of COVID-19, children were not brought to pediatricians for vaccinations. Some of you might take longer to have your visits with the dentist, no? So you just imagine also children with special needs, no? Sila po talaga yung hard hit because, no, For children with special needs, how do they now go for occupational therapy or even speech therapy? Okay. Together with that, we also missed significant life events. No, it feels like we have to put our life on hold for quite some time. No, however, we can only put them on hold for quite some time, no? But eventually, birthdays, graduations, births, funerals continue to happen, no? Unfortunately for us, no? For example, I have a son, no, who's supposed to celebrate his 7th birthday, no, in the US, and it was really planned well. We've prepared for it for more than a year. Lo and behold, COVID happened, no? So fortunately, it is now a parent's task, no, to try to make things, no, more comfortable for the children in terms of missing out on significant life events. How many? A lost security and safety. No? Economic security is one. A lot of people from all walks of life has started to feel the brunt, no, of that financial constraints. No? Even doctors are not spared. No? We also have restricted access to our basic needs. No? When you want to buy your things, no, when you want to buy your groceries, no, there is a lot of ritual na yun po actually yung nakakapagod. No? For kids and adolescents, you cannot get them, but you have to ask help, no, from your parents. There is also increased exposure to abuse or neglect. And there is an increased online activity, which also predisposes you to increased online theft, identity theft. No, that is the reason why the sense of security and safety, no, even your life, no, is really problematic. That is the reason why it also creates a lot of anxiety. It also creates a lot of depressed mood. No, I notice that I'm not saying this is depression, but definitely a depressed mood. We can have depressed mood considering the situations that we are in. Okay, how about online learning? Okay, notice that. Okay, online learning has shifted to the home learning modalities matrix. No, this one makes use of you observe now which one is low or no technological capacity or offline modes of learning versus high tech or online modes of learning. Together with that, no, you also notice self-learning activities versus teacher-guided activities. No? And for those that require self-learning, you have printed books or materials, the radio, and the TV. Okay, for some, TV has become a source of information, no? But unfortunately, not all has access to this TV still. Okay, for the teacher guided, some can do home visits, but I doubt if some are doing that because of risk for COVID. But you can try calls or SMS. Okay. However, note that it's really quite difficult because you are not seeing each other, no, and it's really a difficult one, no, if you are not conversing or exchanging physically, or at least you are not seeing the reaction of who you're talking with. Okay. High-tech online learning modalities include digital or audiobooks, phone apps, and other apps that is applicable. No? So you get to have a lot of YouTube. No? So you get to have access to TED Talks. No? But again, those are driven by self-learning activities. Okay. However, no, when you have a teacher-guided high-tech online activities, these include digital classrooms, video conferencing, and the social media. However, you note, no, that these teacher-guided materials are also still dependent on your internet connections. No? How many of us, no, have already upgraded, no, our internet connections, and yet we feel, no, that we are still having problems with it? So what are the current modes of learning? So we have online learning, which is facilitated by using the internet, where students rely on online tools and virtual platforms. No, this one they can watch on their own. These are recorded videos, no, that they can watch, hoping that when they watch it, no, they will be taught certain skills. On the other hand, you also have your distance learning, where classes are conducted between the teacher and the students who are geographically remote from each other. This is what you call your synchronous tasks. Okay, for some schools, most of them do the full distance learning. Okay, and then you also have modular learnings, wherein there are self-learning materials in the form of modules and activity worksheets for students. No? The problem is, no, in the past year, because it was done haphazardly, of course, there were some mistakes, no, that was included in the modules. No, hopefully by now, because this is the second year that we will be running it, hopefully there will be less problems along the way. You also have a flexible learning. This is a combination of your synchronous, which is your distance learning, and the asynchronous task. And as such, a student may choose between online and modular learning. So this is a combination. Okay. For most of my children, for all my children, most of their learning is distance learning. Okay. And I have observed, no, that for those who are going through distance learning, please encourage your students to turn on their cameras. Okay. Why? Because you try to be in a position wherein, no, you are talking and all you see are just names and a blank screen. Okay, it's difficult because for a teacher, you have to also look into your students' faces for you to identify, no, if they have appreciated your explanation. No? Kasi by looking at their faces, somehow we can simulate the face-to-face interactions that we have pre-pandemic. No? Kasi when they seem to be perplexed, no, kung sumimangot, no, ang inyo pong mga estudyante, di madaling i-interpret that you need to actually try to repeat, no, or probably give a more basic explanation of certain topics, no. So please encourage them, no, to be on camera mode, no. The reason also for that is because when you are on camera mode, as a student, what happens, no? As a student, no, in a way, you force yourself to actually listen because you realize, no, that there is somebody that is looking at you. Okay, so that is one way of trying to have better learning, no, and increasing high yield learning during these exchanges, no, because the temptation is very strong if you turn off your camera. Okay, there are two modes of learning. Okay, the first one is an active learning where students are actively or experientially involved in the learning process. And it depends on the student's involvement, but the student willingly, no, attempts to learn. Okay, but there is also such a thing as a passive learning wherein students are passive recipients of knowledge from an expert, no, and ask students to engage in the learning process. So yung previous face-to-face, that is mostly passive learning. Okay, but now, no, in terms of active learning, if you wanted to learn more, no, we always say that we want you to be active learners. No? If you feel like, no, there is an activity that you don't understand, ask questions, no, set consultations with your teachers or look for friends, no, to help you out, because we say, no, that it is better to be an active learner. Okay, why? No, look at how people are actually doing things. And we say, no, that at some point we are luckier, no, because we can do classes in the comforts of our home. But look at them, okay? However, no, sabi nga natin no, there is no genome for human spirit. Where there is a will, there is always a way. Okay, so we commend these children, no, and these students for going out of their way to make sure that their learning continues. Okay, how then can we evolve and create effective learning skills, or how then we can have effective learning ideas or learning plans? Okay, number one, keep a calendar or a printed schedule in a visible place for easy checking, no? Because if you only rely on your learning management systems, no, it will be difficult for you to track down your activities. So practice making a calendar and including the deadlines that you have to accomplish. Number two, when writing dates, use a pencil for easy revisions, no? So that if there are any changes, if you are the type who doesn't want, no, your area to be, or your paper to be very dirty, then use something that is easily erasable. Okay. 3, you can also make sure that when you schedule, do not overschedule. Allow time for emergencies, no? Because if you cramp your schedule, no, there are very limited leeways, no? So you make sure that you have a schedule that allows for emergencies, no? So even prior to the deadline, you're supposed to actually submit them at an earlier time, no? So that if, for example, for some reason, nawalan ka ng internet, no, then you will still be able to make it on time, no? Or if you got sick, meron ka pa ring allowances along the way. Color different learning content to make the schedule easier to check and follow, no? If you are using, for example, a notebook, no, ako I usually have this, no, a multicolored pen, no, because it also reminds me if I use which colored pen, no, it's easier for me to track down, no, which activities are for clinic, which activities are for my children, no, or which activities are for my students, no. So that way I try to make my activities, no, as easily understandable as possible. Okay, schedule learning time with the least distractions. Okay, however, how can you have a good learning time when your phone is always near you? Okay, so, or when you are chatting with your friends, no, so try to make time, no, and try to see which part of the day will you have the least distractions. Okay, in fact, I think for some schools, it will be even advisable to include a study time in your students' schedule, so that way, no, they will be encouraged to finish their assignments. No, I think that is one of the easier way, no, to develop study habits. No, so incorporate a study time in your schedules. Okay, and make a consistent learning time daily, no? Why do you tire easily? Because the time that you spend attending classes online, you usually turn your cameras offline and then you play with your phones, no? Therefore, you'll get distracted, so that after classes, you will have to review again the video because you had a hard time understanding. And of course, no, that takes away certain time for you. Supposedly you can rest, no, but because you haven't learned significantly enough, no, you have to go back to your video. Therefore, make a consistent learning time daily and focus on a task one at a time. Okay, how about improving concentration? How do I improve my concentration? Definitely, being a millennial or a Gen Z, okay, you can have your concentration span is quite short. Therefore, for every 50 to 60 minutes of study, take at least a 10 to 15 minutes break. But what do I use with my break? During a break, take a snack for energy, go for a walk, or listen to a few favorite songs. Do not use this time to watch your YouTube videos, because that will also, the 10 to 15-minute breaks should actually help you to be away from your gadget or from your working or learning stations. Okay, and then, okay, at the end of one day or at least 1 week, reward yourself. No, a week's reward should be more than a day's. Okay, so give yourself positive reinforcement, the right to eat a chocolate, the right to order something from your favorite fast food. Go ahead and do that, because that will definitely make you feel better. And of course, no, for concentration purposes, find out your best hours for study. If you're more awake at night, schedule it in the evening. No, for example, in my case, I usually wake up much earlier, no, than usual, because I find it more pleasurable for me to do my activities at least 5 a.m. or before the children wake up, no, kasi when the children wakes up, no, my priorities will now change. So ganun din with you, no, if you are a student, look for time, no, where you will be less distracted and use the time to study. Okay, how do we enhance cooperative learning? No, when we say cooperative learning, no, just like the Avengers, they are stronger when they are together. Cooperative learning encompasses a wide range of strategies for promoting academic learning through peer cooperation and communication. So if you notice, no, yung group work is what we call a cooperative learning. So by this way, students help each other learn, share ideas and resources, plan cooperatively, even what and how to study. Okay. However, okay, let me remind you, no, that this is cooperative learning only during classes, no, or in the accomplishment of projects, but never during exams. Okay, so do not use cooperative learning during exam time, actual exam time, but for reviews, go ahead. Okay, how do you continue or proceed with cooperative learning? Okay, how do you plan it? Number one, of course, no, because you will be doing group work, the first task that you need to learn is planning and running a meeting. No, in your case, who will you invite? What will you talk about? Where? In this particular case, hindi kung saan, no, hindi physically kung saan, but through which, no, platform. Will it be Viber? Will it be WhatsApp? Sabi ng anak ko, there is also Discord. Will it be Zoom or Google Meet? No? Why will we meet and how will we meet? That is very important, and what time. Okay. Next. Okay, set an agenda ahead of time. Identify topics to be discussed. No, when you set that, no, there is less chances of you extending your meetings unnecessarily. Okay, ganito rin po even for educators, no, how do you plan, no, cooperative learning and meetings, no? Steps to be taken during a meeting. Okay, during a meeting, start on time, clearly define your goals, and then review and revise the agenda. Okay, take note that you also have to set clear time limits. So if I say, no, there shouldn't be just a start time, there should also be an end time, no, because for most of the time, no, I remember, no, last year, no, my eldest son claims, no, that they have a meeting for one of their projects, no, and my youngest has told me, no, that Kuya has been in a meeting for long and I tried to eavesdrop. He was just actually talking with his friends. Okay, so set a clear time limit. Focus on one topic at a time. If you finish early, then go ahead. No, if you love talking with each other, go ahead, but do the agenda first. Okay, and then after the meeting, what do we do? Okay, steps taken after a meeting is to record final decisions, no, assign tasks to members, and set deadlines. Okay, and together with that, decide who should be informed, no, of the meeting or the activities or the decisions that transpired during the meeting. No, so that way, no, everyone will be informed. The important people will be informed how to go about your activities. Okay, next. Okay, how now will I be able to manage my multidimensional learning sources if I have a lot? No, how do I deal with that? Okay, so number one, develop a routine by choosing a quiet and fixed place to study. This is very important. Why do you need to have a study area? Because, no, studying requires much concentration. It also requires you to actually have a mindset, no? So that when you go to that particular place, your mindset is you will be studying. Okay, because if you actually just do your task everywhere, anywhere as at home, you will be in trouble because the boundaries, no, the separation of home and school will be further lost, di ba? Kaya nga kayo nahihirapan kasi before, when you are doing face-to-face, it's very easy for you to simulate. No? Once I travel, when I am in my uniform, I go to school, I have to study. So that when I go home, I rest. No? But now, your school and your home is one and the same. Therefore, how do you establish a boundary? Choose a quiet place. Okay? And you only go there when you want to study. Okay? If you want to do something else, no, do not study in the bedroom, or for example, do not study while lying on bed. Okay? Another is avoid distractions. Okay? Why? Because cell phones, music, TV, family members, avoid them. No? If you want to study, you might want to place a note on your room that do not disturb, classes ongoing, no, so that they will also be informed that you are studying. Okay, clear up space, maintain the environment clean, and put only things that you use for online class. I have been seeing in my Facebook feed, no, that a lot of parents have prepared the work stations of their children, pero ang daming distractions, no. Pag sinabi po nating workstation, lalo na po pag bata, all you have to place, no, are the gadgets that they will require, and then some of the things should be within their arm's reach. No? Pero wag hong masyadong maraming colored pens, wag hong masyadong maraming kung anong nakadikit dyan, because, no, they will have a tendency to tinker with it, no, maglalaro. Another thing, no, na-notice ko rin po, while it is true that you would like to have a bigger monitor for your children, no, please observe for the glare, no, that it will be giving them, no. So malalaman mo naman po 'yun. Minsan kung masyadong malaki yung inyong ginagamit na screen, it can hurt the eye, no. So if that is the case, no, you can ask your children, no, to be away, to you can shift to a smaller monitor, or for example naman po, if you are using a tablet, kung masyado naman po yung maliit, no, then you might have to change to a bigger sized screen para hindi po siya mahirapan, no. So those are some of the things that you really need to do. Please be mindful of that, no. Ako din, I always encourage my children, no, to wear earphones, no. Why? Kasi po, no, for my own mental health, no, minsan hindi ko naman gustong marinig lahat, no, ng kanilang inaaral. Sometimes I get to be confused, no. I have been grade 3, no, 3 times already, and I feel like, no, sometimes I have to even repeat grade 7 and grade 9, no. So I usually tell them, please use your earphones, no, so that at least I get to have some peace and quiet at home. Okay? Consult others for help, no. Sabi nga natin, no, learning is a complex and difficult process. consult others. To ask so do not be shy as for help, because as we say, no, that is also a very important skill that you need to learn. Okay. So how about for educators? No, we have given our guides for children. How about for educators? Please get to know your students and their families, especially for those who are very young. No? Take a look how many in that household are considered frontliners. And I am not referring to just healthcare workers, but also economic frontliners, because no, if that is the case, maybe you have to give leeways, no, if they will be unable to submit, no, their assignments on time. Again, no, provide guidelines if a family member or the student himself had COVID-19. No, I have heard schools give orientation, pero please be explicit with this one. No, while it is true that we know that you will be kind, no, try to make it explicit. No, what if a person, no, or a student becomes sick? No, what are the conditions? No, para that way po, no, they will also be able to plan for it. No, as we say, no, kaya din ho kasi mahirap yung pandemic sa atin is because we are at a loss, no, in times of things na we are not sure kung ano yung gagawin natin. Allow flexibility. Okay, the family's focus on meeting basic needs may interfere with meeting educational needs. No, that is the reason why you need to be more flexible, especially when you actually demand for some of the materials. No, and then watch out for red flags in your students' behavior. No, baka hindi na siya pumapasok ng isang linggo pero hindi nyo pa napapansin, no? Or if you have a student who is used to performing well, no, suddenly, no, refuses to cooperate or does not respond, no, when you ask them to recite, then that is also a red flag. Also, no, please be familiar, no, with the group chats, no, that your students have. While it is true, meron po tayong mga group chats, no, in your schools, no, they have a tendency to also make their own group chats. No, please be mindful of that, no, kasi a lot of bullying usually happen po in these group chats. Okay, and then please be mindful of the tasks you assign. Tandaan po natin, no? Number one, ang bata pong ito, especially when you are dealing with older students, no, yung mga adolescents or even medical students, they have responsibilities of their own. While it is true, no, na sila po ay nasa bahay, they are not only students, but that they are also daughters, no, they are also sisters that may actually be doing some things for their family, no. Make sure po that when you also assign task, it is age appropriate. What am I saying, no? For a preschooler, no, wag naman ho sana nahingan kami, no, na kailangan naming i-video ang mga bata at ang deadline ay ilang araw lamang, no. Please make sure, no, and then do not use the term vlog, kasi especially for young kids, no, kasi you have to also remember that parents may also not be very aware of that, no. So you tell them to take a video, but please make sure that this is age appropriate, no. I get distressed, no, kasi I see a lot of, there was one in my Facebook, there was one na they were asked to make a TikTok video, no. What if this family values, no, their child's anonymity, no? So be mindful of that. Another thing, no, especially po if you are teaching, no, with other teachers, please be mindful po na yes, you have your own task, baka naman ho si kabilang teacher nagpalista rin ho ng kanya, no. That is the reason why they feel burdened, no. So probably siguro po when you are dealing with a class, no, please also track, no? Baka kailangan nyo rin pong magpagawa, no, ng mga assignment task para hindi sila na-overwhelm, no? Sayang po kasi ang lagi naming naririnig sa mga students, hindi na po ako natututo, sabi nung student, kasi I only submit for the sake of submitting it, no? So I always tell my patients that is not true, no? Kasi for every time you open your book, no, for every time you read, there is a learning. Kaya lang dahil sa dami, hindi nila na-appreciate yung process, no? So please be mindful of the tasks that you give them. And of course, no, as I always tell to people, be kind to yourself. Follow regular work hours so that you also have time for your family too, no? Hindi po pwede na only, no, ang kanilang mga requests, no? I always tell, no, binubulungan ko po yung mga teachers, please tell them that you can only be contacted between these hours, no? That way you also spend time, no, with your own families, so you also do it. And even students, please also be mindful of a time when you text your teachers, no? Kasi all of us deserves to take a break at some point in time. Ako po, beyond a certain time, I do not answer my emails. I wait it out, no? Next day na po yun, no? Or sometimes, no, if I have to work, no, I use schedule send so that all of my students will receive it at the same time, no, para hindi po matututo rin sila, no, that they have to be mindful of my time as well. Okay? And then, no, for the parents, understand your role, no? Your role in this online learning is to facilitate learning, okay? But you are never the student. Therefore, you're not supposed to make their modules. You're not supposed to make their assignments. You're only there to facilitate learning. Understand the expectations for online learning, no? Alam niyo ho ba kung gaano kahirap bilang student to stare, no, in front of a screen for quite a time, no? Therefore, no, I always tell the parents, no, please streamline, no, your expectations, no? Wag na po tayong mag-expect, no, for everyone to have a stellar academic performance, but what we want to expect is that they enjoy their learning. Okay? Ask for help when needed, no? Lalo ho ngayon, no, kung talaga ang math is very high level na, no, if you will be stressed as your child's tutor, probably ask for help, no? Kaysa ikaw po yung gagawa, no, at mag-aaway kayo in how things are done, better ask somebody to do it on your behalf. Create a study schedule that best supports your child's needs, no? Pero it has to be a schedule that was agreed upon between the two of you. Okay? Prepare a dedicated study space and reduce distractions. I have already emphasized that. No? Use a checklist for focus and allow for frequent breaks between lessons. No? So if you have a very young child, no, usually po ito pang young child, no, isusulat po ninyo ano yung kailangan nilang isubmit and show it to the child. So when do you want to do it, no? This is your deadline, no? Para that way po you involve the child, no? And then that becomes his own responsibility also, no? So shared responsibility na siya. Okay? And then stay positive, no, even through technical difficulties, no. Ang hirap, no, I experienced how it is, no, ang tawag ko sa sarili ko during these times, no, is a call center supervisor, no, because I always have to stay with the kids, no, for troubleshooting, no. So stay positive even through technical difficulties that you are always disconnected. No? Kasi kung ikaw din magiging irritable, it will also affect the temperament of your child. And the biggest thing, no, is to be generous in giving praises and words of encouragement. No? I try to make things, no, as fun as possible for my children. No? I remember for this particular one, no, when classes were about to start, I bought them, no, I prepared for them a special breakfast, no, because that was the first day high, no. So ganun din po sa inyo, no. Be more generous of your positive reinforcements, no, and then praise them, no. Oh, very good, no, that you are able to submit on time. Very good that you are doing your work independently, no. Kasi ho, yung validation minsan hindi nila masyadong nakukuha ngayon sa teachers. So you provide that validation. And of course, don't forget to have fun, no. Nakakapagod siya, no, but you have to enjoy, no, bask at the time, no, that you are learning together with your kids, no. Ako, yes, I miss my I really miss, no, my peace and quiet when they are in school, no, but definitely I enjoy, no, having them, no, kissing me from quite some time, no, if they say that they miss me. So that's the fun, no, in doing the online learning together. Okay, and then, no, we all have our own resilience. Sabi natin, no, we always want people, okay, to enhance our own resilience. Ano ba yung resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficult experiences. All of us, no, have our own resilience, no, but for very young kids, no, it's really very important that we enhance their abilities to be resilient. Why? Because individuals higher in resiliency are better able to rebound from negative life experiences, no. What are examples of enhancing resiliency, no? Goal setting with realistic expectations, no. Ingat po tayo, no, sa inyong mga expectations, no. Ang pinakamahirap na tanong sa akin diyan before ng anak ko is, "Ma'am, what is a grade that will be good enough for you?" Okay? So nahirapan ako sa tanong na yon until eventually ang naisip kong bright answer is any grade that you feel you have done well. If you feel you have done well, then that is acceptable to me. Okay? Develop their self-esteem. Remember that, no, when we have our own self-esteem that is validated by our parents, it's easier for us, no, to conquer things. Okay? It's okay to allow them to make mistakes because once they make mistakes, they will learn from it, no? So wag mong gawing perfect ang mga sinasubmit, no? Teach them how to do it. Allow them problem-solving skills, no? If they say, "Ma'am, I feel that I am bullied," do not go and talk to teacher immediately. Listen, no? Listen to the story and ask your kids, "So how do you plan to do it?" No? So that way po, you develop the problem-solving skills. Okay? Allow them also to recognize their own emotions. Do not give in to tantrums as much as possible. Enhance also their social skills, no, and ability to seek assistance. So I always tell my children, if you feel, no, that you need my help, let me know. I will be willing to help, no. But if you don't tell me that you need help, no, I would assume that you are doing your tasks well, no. So kasi po ang ability to ask assistance is also a skill, no, that they should also be that they should have, no. Social skills, no, you also encourage them, no, to be with their friends. How? Probably set them up, no, in terms of watching things together, no. My son asked me, "Ma'am, is it okay if we watch Netflix together with my friends?" Go ahead, no? Kasi important yun. I always tell nga my son, no, if we were not in the pandemic, probably at your age, you will not be here at home. Probably I need to fetch you somewhere else in the mall, no? Kasi I think that's also a very important thing. But for now, no, ma-on hold mo na yon, so you develop that social skills. Okay? And of course, no, self-control is also very important, no? Yan ho ang problema natin ngayon with this generation because we have not given them time, no, to have their regulation of their own emotions and their own urges, no? So it's never too late, no, to continue or teach them self-control. Okay? And then, no, for everyone, okay, how do we enhance resilience? Be kind to your body by eating healthy food, doing your regular exercises, no? Make sleep a sacred priority. Later, ipakita ko po sa inyo ilan ang dapat na sleep time for everyone. follow a routine or schedule, be kind to your mind, avoid negative thoughts, practice gratitude. There is always a reason to be thankful, and be kind and find opportunities to be one. Okay, we always want people to be kind, no? In a world that is so easy to be mean, please be that person who will choose kindness all the time. Okay, this one, please take a screenshot, no? If you are, this will remind you how many hours sleep you need to have. Okay, if you have a school age kid, that's supposed to be 9 to 11 hours. For your teenagers, that's 8 to 10. And for us adults, at least 7 to 9. Okay, for the older ones, no, pwede po sila even 7 to 8. The middle ones are the recommended, no? The low ones, no, are the minimum recommended, no? And the upside, no, are the ones for those who prefer longer sleep, no? So you have to fall within that mean, okay? So again, as we enhance our resilience, please take care of our minds and bodies, okay? Because we really need it at this point in time, okay? And then at the end of the day, no, let me again end my presentation with this one, no? If you forget my lectures, no, along the way, okay, just always remember this. Okay, slow down, keep calm, be positive, take it easy, unplug when you feel so overwhelmed, enjoy life, have fun, breathe, relax outside, smile, and meditate. No? Because, as Max Ehrmann says in Desiderata, despite its charm, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Therefore, we strive to be happy. Okay, so thank you very much, no, for listening. Okay, just in case you might be wanting to have your consultations, no, these are the numbers or email, no, that you can contact for a desire for consultation. No? So marami pong salamat. Thank you for listening.